Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Caroline Colas, and I'm the Senior Director of Health and Wellness at the Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan. In our previous Lunch and Learn session, Megan McDonough, co-founder of the Whole Being Institute, interviewed Barbara Fredrickson, the leading researcher in the field of positive emotions. Today, Megan will dive into the details of Fredrickson's practice of positivity resonance, what it means to really feel connected to another. We will shake it up a bit in this session using the breakout rooms to practice in pairs to see what it's like to experience the tools directly. We can find a middle ground of connecting wholeheartedly while maintaining safe social distancing at the same time. Our hope is that this session will help us both remain connected but appropriately cautious as our cities and states and world begins to reopen. Welcome to the call, Megan. Here we go.
Hello, my friend, and hello, my friends. Thank you for the introduction, and thanks for being here with me again today. So I invite you to do as we always do, which is to center first, to really allow ourselves to fully arrive. This became apparent to me because this morning when I was doing another webinar, I realized that I was running between managing my family and home stuff and turning the corner and running in to do a webinar. And many times in this closeness that we have between personal and professional lives, that there's not the normal space, be it with a commute, with a train ride, with a going somewhere, that allows us to settle and arrive so that we can go on to the next thing sort of with a clean slate. Does anyone else feel that way? Yeah, I do too. So I find these moments of pausing, Donna's going like, yeah, yes, I feel that. Yes, I know what you're talking about. So let's just take a moment and create that pause for ourselves through our centering. So take a nice deep breath in and a big exhale. Another deep breath in. Big exhale. And simply allow yourself to land. It's nothing big, it's nothing dramatic. It's just the sense of noticing what's happening now in your body, in your breath, in your mind, in your thoughts, in your emotions. So take your awareness all the way down to your toes. And notice the feet, the ankles, the shin and calf and knees. Noticing the thighs and the hips and the whole length of your spine, right up through the crown of your head. Noticing the sleeves of both arms, and see if you can't invite a little more space between your shoulders and your ears. What would it be like to let go of the burdens you carry on your shoulder? As much as you're able to in this moment. Notice the beating of your own heart. Aware of the breath coming and going. Aware of your energy level, your emotional sense for this moment. The quality of your thoughts. Let yourself arrive. Allowing your hands to come out to either side as you inhale up and around. And bring those hands down with an exhale. And bring them right down in front of your heart and hold your heart for a minute. And say to yourself, may I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. And then opening up your eyes and opening up your hands and offer to someone that you see on the screen. Let's just do it in galley view so we can all see each other. And look someone in the eye and say, may you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Deep breath in. Big exhale. Thank you for pausing. That felt nice. So this is an exercise that we did when Barbara Fredrickson was here a couple weeks ago, right? I started with that intentionally because it was Barbara Fredrickson who has done a great deal of research about love, about loving kindness meditation in particular, and how the positive emotion of love makes such a difference in our lives. So I'm not sure how many of you were here from, if you would just raise your hand and let me know who was here when Barbara was. Yeah, so I see a lot of, some hands going up, some not. Thank you, thank you. So since some of you weren't here, let me just give you a brief overview of who Barbara Fredrickson is. She is a leading researcher in the field of positive psychology. In fact, one of the early adopters from a research perspective. She has been researching positive emotions for 2 decades. So her whole perspective of what she adds to the field of positive psychology is in particular around positive emotions and how they broaden and build our capacity, how they broaden our sight and build our capacity in life. And her whole theory, broaden and build theory, is a key component of the field of positive psychology. And so she's consistently writing about, working on how these positive emotions impact our experience as individuals, but even more importantly, how it connects us with others. And I think when Caroline and I were chatting about what was needed now, okay, we've done a lot in the last few weeks, right, Caroline? And one of the things that's shifting when we first started getting into COVID was like, oh my gosh, what does my life look like? Things are closed. It was a very fast and rapid pace. And we started instituting these when things were moving so rapidly. All we knew is that our community needed us to sort of come together and lead down certain content that might help us build resilience to greet what was happening. And as the days unfolded and we saw the changes that were happening, we're now at sort of a different point in time where the discussion nowadays is, how do I connect safely? We're reopening stuff. What does that mean for me? How do I actually think about the risk reward and what it means to go get a cup of coffee, or what it means to go out on the street, or what it means to go out and sit at a restaurant? Some of us are opening up our states. Some of us, I was just listening to Cuomo's press conference where I was eating my lunch at 11:30. So we're at a place now with actually a finer point of distinction about how we interact with one another. Carolyn, did you have anything to add to that? I mean, is that really the heart of what we were talking about when we decided to do today's schedule?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that, we see both sides of this. We see people doing that responsibly, and we see people that are not doing that responsibly. And it's evoking a whole lot of experience inside of us. And also, I think I've really heard recently that just people are missing other people. I even heard an introvert. She says, I used to think of myself as an introvert, but maybe I have to change my classification because I miss people. I just went to the grocery store. I didn't really need anything because I needed to see somebody.
Yeah. So when we were thinking about today, we were thinking about like, how do we create connections and actually talk about the science of connection from a safe perspective, How do we maintain safety and know the key components of connection so that when our heart needs to be filled up with the connection of others, we know how to do that. So what I wanted to do is take Barbara Fredrickson's work and expand it into the current situation that we're in and share with you what some of the science says. And then most importantly, do something quite off the wall today, which is actually to stop talking myself and break you guys into dyads so that you can go experience some of this. What does it mean to be connected, but not really hugging or holding people or shaking hands the way that we used to? So that's the plan for today. So I hope that sounds good. What do I want to do first? I think I'm going to share a little bit of the science and then we'll do the breakouts. So here we go. You're familiar with this by now, I think, but if not, I'll just go over it briefly. At Whole Being Institute, we look at whole person well-being through the lens of 5 dimensions. They're well-researched, they're evidence-based ways of looking at our well-being. And this model was developed by Tal Ben-Shahar, Maria Sirois, and myself. These 5 dimensions we call SPIRE, the spiritual, meaning, and mindfulness. So we've had a number of conversations around that. The physical well-being, how we move, how we eat, sleep, and drink to really keep this body well, and how we use the body to actually influence the mind. And Meg has done a lot of work on the movement piece and the Letra yoga dance, and certainly Caroline with her Nia as well, to get a sense of what does this physical vitality look like. Intellectual deep learning, and being open to experience. Relational, not only how we interact with others, but how we actually interact with ourselves in a kind way, so that self-compassionate way. And then emotional well-being, how we look at positive emotions and the ability to build resilience. So this aspect of SPIRE, we've done a whole lot of programming around. And what I really want to focus on today is this one piece of emotional well-being, in particular, positivity as it relates to what Barbara Fredrickson calls the supreme emotion of love. Supreme emotion is rather a big, lofty title, but in her book, Love 2.0, she talks about why love is such an overarchingly important positive emotion, how it impacts not only your physiology and your neural connections, as well as your emotional well-being. So she calls love the supreme emotion. So what I'm going to talk about today is one slice of her work of how she defines the supreme emotion of love. And I think the first thing that we have to do is acknowledge our preconceived ideas about what love is. So I bet if I asked, I don't know how many people were on the call today, 50 or so, if I asked every single person here, they would have some sort of preconceived idea in their head. That's not wrong. It's your perception of what love is. Love is what you feel for your significant other. Love is what you feel for your children. Love is exclusive to my loved ones. It's love is something I would give my life for another person about. So it's sort of this lofty ideal about what love is. And one of the first things that Barbara Fredrickson talks about in her Love 2.0 book, that if we think of love only in these very lofty, exclusive terms, that we're really limiting our capacity to get all the benefits out of love. And that, in fact, the researcher's way of defining love is different than what we as lay people might think of love. So what we're first going to begin to do is to say, okay, we have a mental construct about what love is. And I'm going to ask that you sort of put this mental construct, whether it's a romantic love or a love of a child, that you just sort of put that to the side and know that what we're really talking about is something different when we talk about Love 2.0. We're talking in this particular scenario, the body's experience of love. And in that way, it's not a lofty ideal. It's actually a physiological response that can be measured, uh, quantified, and can be enhanced. So maybe it's not as sexy, maybe it's not as lofty, maybe it's not as romanticized, but it is incredibly much more accessible if one thinks of love in this way. So as Barbara describes love, it's as your body experiences it. And she says it is these micro moments of connection that are shared with another, which is how she defines love. Now, you already know this, right? When you go to get a coffee somewhere and you run into someone you don't know, you look them in the eye, you just start chatting because maybe you're waiting in line, and you just felt like, wow, I really clicked with that person. I really like that person. I don't know who this is, but I'm so glad I met you because you sort of made my day. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like that instant clicking. Caroline, in a way, it's like when I first met you, I felt like, oh, this is a kindred spirit. I love chatting with her. We've never hugged because I've never seen her. I've never seen you live, Caroline.
It's true.
It's always, it's true. I've only seen you via Zoom, but I feel this connection to her. And if we were to keep the mental construct of love as exclusive to our family or our partners or to a select few, we limit the amount of work that love can do in our physiology if we would think about it as micro moments of connection. Because those micro moments of connection, they can happen all the time. And what I want to do is sort of say, what are the components of those micro moments of connections? And they don't need to involve hugging or closeness or physical touching. These constructs of micro moments of connection can be fostered and built in a way that's safe for our health. And I just want to check and make sure on the chat I didn't miss anything. Good. And Elaine hits the nail on the head when she says these moments work when you actually pause to notice them, right? It's true. You can have so many of these micro moments, even via Zoom, that we can miss because we're not really fully here. And that's why I actually do some of the centering so that we can actually settle into this moment and connect to this moment. Thank you, Elaine. Yes, I wasn't on my morning meditation. I had forgotten when I spoke to you guys last week that I was teaching today, so I missed. Tomorrow I'll see you. Carolyn called them micronutrients, which helped me remember and to know. That is actually a word also that Barbara Fredrickson uses. That not these micro moments of connection actually create micronutrients that feed us. They literally feed us in ways that uplift us. So yes, they're like nutrients. And I love that word that Barbara Fredrickson uses to describe it too. So one of the ways in which we can not just notice micro moments of connection, but create them is to make eye contact. Whether you're a baby and you're looking at another in the eye, or a best friend having tea together, it is the ability for us to look at one another in the eye that somehow is like the doorway to some of the physiological responses that happen. So for example, when we're in conversation and we're looking at each other in the eye, there are mirror neurons firing. In other words, a reciprocity between what you're thinking and feeling and what I'm thinking and feeling. So these mirror neurons work to keep us sort of connected in sync. Also, when we make eye contact, there is a connection between the vagus nerve, which is the largest nerve in the body, which travels basically everywhere and has some specific properties that affect the heart. It helps with the heart rhythm. It helps with some of the vagal tone, so that we have talked in the past about breathing. But in fact, just looking at another in the eye impacts not only the mirror neurons, but also impacts that vagus nerve as it travels through the body, creating what's known as heart rate coherence, or a more relaxed state, really a sense of oxytocin being released, so that we feel sort of that warm and fuzzy feeling of that, oh, I'm so connected with you. I really love this conversation. That all happens through the basics of eye contact. And this is sort of problematic if our eyes are, always busy doing this. Oh, look at all those new texts I just got. Like, that's distracting us from this. And I actually notice it in myself too. Like, if I'm upset with, say, my husband or my children, it's harder for me to look them in the eye. Have you ever noticed that? So there's something about the ability to actually say, oh, I'm going to connect with you. I'm going to look you in the eye and have this conversation, that impacts the connection between the brain and the heart. And it impacts how we relate to one another. So eye contact is one of the things that we can do safely. When you're out on the streets of New York and you see someone, I actually found this in myself too, is sometimes when I walk and I would get scared because I would see another person. It's like, oh my gosh, there's another person walking down. What are we going to? I tend to look away, as if looking away, as if looking away does anything with the virus. Does anyone else feel that? Yeah, it's weird, right, Mega? Like, why would looking away, that protects me from you? I'm not going to look at you. It's strange. So one of the things I think about when I was thinking about this positivity resonance is, oh my goodness, when I see someone, can I have the bravery of keeping my safe social distance, number one? Yes, wear my masks, number two. But number three, look them in the eye. Like, this is another human being. So if you haven't noticed that yet, just see if that happens to you. You want to stay safe, you tend to look away and like, don't look at me, don't see me. Look at them, because that eye contact is going to change how you feel. That eye contact, and hopefully if they decide to make eye contact with you too, that you can just have a micro moment of, yeah, we're here, we're human, and we're making the best given our current circumstances. Important. I'm going to pause just for a moment because I see some people are chatting. Let me see. Yeah, maybe it is, Joan, the mouth pointing in a different direction. I do wear my mask when I'm out and about. So I think the eye contact and the social distancing allows us to actually, maybe it is an instinct to move my mouth away. That is true. Yes, it is. It's so fun. Like, oh, someone said hello and receive a greeting back. we are re-indoctrinating ourselves into what does it mean to have a human relationship in this new reality. So yeah, I wish people knew that you were smiling at them at the grocery store beneath the mask, right? That's like a practice in and of itself. So this is not normal for us, right? I mean, we've had however many years we've been alive to socialize in a certain way. And now, not so much. Now it's going to be different. So what does it look like? And eye contact is one of those safe things that we can practice. The other thing we're going to do is the way in which we're going to go approach this today is by doing a little breakout group to practice safely, knowing what it looks like to connect, looking at someone in the eye through these series of questions. These 36 questions, by the way, came from actually a guy in New York, Stony Brook, I think. Let me just double check the name. Yes, Arthur Aaron from Stony Brook University came up with these 36 questions for increasing closeness. It's a way of getting deeper into another person in a sort of easy, non-threatening way. So in a moment, I'm going to try breaking us into small groups, and I'm going to pose to you a number of questions, give you some time, and have you actually practice looking each other in the eye. And it's so funny. One of the reasons why I do the loving kindness meditation is when we look at another in the eye, I mean, you can't really tell who's looking at who. And so all I ask is when you do this, yes, I'm Mega, I see you waving, let your camera be right in front of you so that when you're with that other person in a Zoom breakout, that instead of having you look over here and having the conversation with them, that you actually try and look so that you're looking at each other. So that's what we're going to do. We've never done breakout groups. It's going to be a little messy. Hope you're okay with that. And we're going to do this. We're going to do this sort of breakout for 15 minutes. The actual exercise that has been studied on all 36 questions is a 45-minute exercise. We're not going to do that. I took 6 of the first sort of get to know one another questions. They're not deep, difficult, dark questions. They're sort of, easy, fun questions to get to know one another. We'll do 6 questions over about a 15-minute time frame. And I'm not going to interrupt you. You'll have just that time. And if any of you feel like this is not something you want to do, you can go ahead and leave and then come back in 15 minutes and we'll discuss what that was like. So the plan is from about 12:30 to quarter of to have these conversations. And then from quarter of to about to the end of the top of the hour, we'll just sort of discuss what was that like, thinking about connecting with someone just through conversation and eye contact. That's the plan. Any questions? Yes, Caroline, you raised your hand so nicely. You could unmute yourself.
I didn't want just the voice to come out of, nowhere. So we have some folks on the phone. We have like 3 of those on the phone. And I'm just wondering if you want me to be in the one group and I can be with them, or how you want to do that.
Well, they'll still be able to talk to one another.
Okay.
They won't be able to see one another, and we'll just picture and imagine those folks if we can't look them in the eye. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
And this isn't perfect. This is,
Yeah.
and I want to also give you, I will text you guys this when you're in the small groups, but I want to give you a sense of a whole of what those questions are so that you can feel safe.
And do we also want them to be able to unmute themselves, right?
Yeah, they'll be able to when they go into the small groups.
Okay.
So a couple things. Yes, Mega, thank you for reminding me. I will do the timing and I'll let you know when you're about halfway through. If you need help, you can leave the breakout room and come back here. And these are the 6 questions, and I will share those with you when you're in the small group. They're easy questions, like given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest? Kind of non-threatening, kind of fun. So these are the 6 questions, and it's okay when you have your conversation. If you've only gone through 3, there's no exact science. Just give both of you guys a chance to talk and connect. If you're on the phone, picture the other person and at least listen intently. So what's going to happen is I'm going to do the breakout rooms, 2 in each group. If there's an odd number, there might be 3. Caroline and myself will stay here in the main room in case you need any help. And you'll just have to click on the icon that comes up that says enter the small group. That's about it. The guy who wrote these questions, Mega, is Arthur Aaron. A-R-O-N is the last name, Arthur Aaron.
I put in the chat an article by him or about him from the New York Times.
Yes, and it was also, if you go onto the Greater Good from Berkeley, they have this whole thing. This is what I'm going by. It's the whole process is at the Greater Good. 36 questions for increasing closeness. All right, let's give it a try. I'm kind of excited about this. Give me a second to set up the rooms. Okay, so I'll have about 17 rooms with 2 to 3 people in each room. So if you have 2 people in your room, good. If you have 3, you might just need to go a little bit faster so everybody can hear. Let's see. And Caroline, just don't go into a breakout group. I'm not going to break you out separately. Just don't go in. And it looks like most of the groups have 3. All right, let's give it a try. And I'll be right back. Someone's asking for help, so I'll be right.
Unmute. Hi there. Did you guys want to go ahead and ask each other these questions? For some reason I can't hear you. I don't know why. Neera, I can't hear you, and Bunny, I can't hear you either. You're on the phone. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have to call in. I don't know why, Megan, I don't hear Neera.
Yes, hold on a second. I'm gonna put some people. Bunny, did you want to break into a small group?
Sure.
She said
Sure.
yes.
Sure. Okay, let me put you into a group. Let's see, who's this person? Okay, let me just hold on a second. Let me send a note to folks. All right.
Hey, Bunny.
Oh,
Can you
hi,
hear me?
Megan. I admire you so much.
Oh, well,
I
thank
just
you.
have to tell you, you're always so pleasant, and so is Megan. It's a joy.
Oh, well, thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you so much.
When this is all over, I may even walk over to the JCC and introduce myself.
I would love that.
Yeah,
I
I would
would
do
love
that.
that. Yeah. Okay, here's Laurel, and here's, hi, Laurel. How are you? Oh, wait.
Could you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I think we're going to have our own group here because
Perfect.
all the other groups are set up. So I don't want to pop you into a conversation that's already
Thank you.
happening.
Great.
Yeah, yeah. So as they're doing their questions, let us do our questions. The first one was, given the choice of anyone in the world, who would you want as a dinner guest?
Obama and Michelle.
Oh,
That's mine, too.
Without a
Mine
doubt,
too.
my heroes.
oh my goodness.
Oh, and Donna's here, too. Fantastic.
Does anybody else want to share?
Hey, Donna, who would you want to have for a dinner guest, Donna?
I think that's pretty good.
What, Obama?
Yeah, the Obamas.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
We're all on the same page.
Neera, did you want Obama too, or did you want somebody else?
cannot see.
Yeah, we can see you.
Oh, no, I'm saying people that I don't see nowadays. You know what I mean?
Oh.
I don't know if they were given choices and I had to pick one, or is it just any choice?
It's your choice.
It's yours.
It's any choice. Well, I could have a few people that live in other countries as dinner guests. Actually, it was my birthday yesterday, and I had a Zoom thing, and it was so nice to have people from all over kind of joining it. So I would just like to have a big dinner with many people that I don't see.
Awesome.
I don't need a big, like a big shot somewhere over there, who I admire or don't admire. I just want to have some close people like family and friends and stuff like that.
Happy birthday to you, Nera.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, happy birthday. And maybe
It's funny, you have one day of birthday and you get a whole year older, so.
it's true.
Yeah.
So question number 2 is, and maybe someone we haven't heard from yet can answer this one. Question number 2 is, would you like to be famous? In what way?
Not really.
Who's that speaking?
Only if I could help some people.
Ah.
Yeah.
That would be the only way I would want to be famous.
Megan, you can't see you, you only see the top of your head.
Really?
I can see you. I can see you.
Okay.
I think it's, I don't know why it's your phone, Nera, but I can.
It's my phone? Oh, I can see myself in the little picture, so I kind of try to zero myself in the middle. Can you see me or no?
Yes,
I
we
can see you. Yeah.
Yeah, but other people, I can see you very well, but I think we all have to make sure that we can see ourselves in the little tiny picture, and then we're in the center of the screen.
Yeah.
So it's a learning curve, Nera.
Yeah.
So
for me, it's definitely not a curve. It's a mountain.
Well, you're doing well.
Oh, I'm
So
trying
who
my
else? Who else in terms of that last question of did you want to be famous? I'm sorry I didn't catch who just said that they would if they could help people.
I think that was
Who
Bunny.
Funny.
That was funny. Yeah.
Oh,
That
I
was
thought it
cool.
was Megan. It said
Yeah.
Megan on the screen, but I don't know who that is.
Yeah, that was
This is
funny.
funny.
Yeah.
Bunny? Okay.
How about someone else? Do you want to be famous? Yeah, Donna.
I think for making a difference in other people's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all feel like that now. Hopefully we remember that later.
Anybody else want to share on that question?
I would join them. I would say I would want to be famous if I did something that I felt really made a difference.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
said I'm seconding you.
we liked your answer so much we're stealing it.
Good. I'm glad I contributed.
Yeah, you certainly did, my friend. So question 3. Oh, this is a good one. Before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say? And those of you who haven't spoken up yet, I would love to hear from someone who hasn't spoken yet. So
almost never. I don't think about that. I think I just go for it. I think maybe occasionally, but not usually.
Yeah. Thank you, Laurel. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. I'm with you, Laurel. I don't script out unless I'm having a problem with someone, and then I try it about 50 million times. Well, what if I said this? What if they said that? What if they said this?
It's interesting that you say that because I actually help patients sometimes script out a call.
Yeah.
I don't really do it for myself, but sometimes I do help people kind of get the key points down before they have to make an important phone call. So interesting.
Yeah.
A therapeutic perspective. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would say the same as she said. I really usually shoot my mouth, but the thing, and my mother used to say to me, count to 3 before you say anything.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's true. Sometimes when you do have a problem, you might kind of think about it because you already said the wrong thing last time. And then you might want to say it in a different way this time. So
I was taught, think before you speak.
yeah.
I don't
Who
know.
is this? I can't see you. Oh, here you go.
There I go. Right.
Oh,
Funny.
yay.
But if
You
I
see a little bit more. You have to go up a little more.
you think?
A little more.
Yeah, it looks great, Bunny.
No, I
Got
see
you,
you on
girl.
my screen.
There you go.
That's it. Now you are on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes I spurt out things.
Oh,
Right.
we have Barbara here too.
I think that's a pretty normal thing, but sometimes more than normal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe it's a Jewish trait.
probably.
Thank you, Bunny.
Outspoken.
Yeah. Barbara, did you have anything to add?
Beg your pardon?
I was asking Barbara if she had anything to add because I haven't heard her voice yet. I was wondering if she wanted to participate.
Who is Barbara?
Where's Barbara?
She might have to tilt her screen
Scroll.
a little bit.
Scroll.
You might have to scroll.
There's
Let me
Barbara Allen.
unmute her.
Is that Barbara Allen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't seem
I
to.
got her, but
Yeah.
I got the ceiling more than anything.
Yeah.
The ceiling.
It's nice
right,
to
well,
see
let's-
people's houses.
Yeah, that's right. Let's move on to question 4 because we're about halfway through the time.
What would constitute?
Actually, more than halfway through.
Yeah,
I
we're
gave some.
almost. I think
Yeah,
we
I
did
gave
one
people
more.
a 7-minute notice, and I realized, oh no, we have much less than 7 minutes.
Exactly.
All right, one more question, and then I'm going to break everybody back into our room. And that question is, what would constitute a perfect day for you?
A perfect day in COVID time or a perfect day in non-COVID time?
Good
Yeah,
question.
that is a good question. Why don't you answer it the way you would like?
Okay, I'll answer it. A perfect day for me, my top character strength is appreciation of beauty. So being in nature is like my high. So a hike with people that I love in a very beautiful place
Oh,
with a picnic dinner and an evening maybe around a fireplace or around a fire. But with the people I love gathered near, that would be a perfect day for me.
Yeah, thank you,
perfect.
Laura. Anybody else want to share?
I'm waiting for someone else because I talk a lot. So
So who haven't we heard from that wants to share?
too many options.
I know. Perfect day.
Can't settle on one.
All right, I'm going to send the group back a time that we're coming all back together. Coming back together now.
I would say my perfect day would be with my family at my sister's lake house when we're all together. And, doing what we
Yeah.
usually do, hiking and then being on the water and then, that kind of stuff.
It speaks to micro moments of connection and
right.
love and gratitude, the things that make us the most happy, I think.
Yeah.
For
I
me,
agree.
it's really basically having to see my daughter face to face because she's a doctor and she's been away for a long time. I saw her yesterday on Zoom. If I can have a day with her, I'd be very happy.
Nice.
Oops, another big.
We can
Yep,
see
we're
Rachel's
waiting
cat.
for people to join us. It'll be about another 20 seconds until everybody else comes back in.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna.
Oh, so we broke into groups. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yes, people were away breaking into groups and now they're back. So I want to thank my group that I was chatting with. So very good, Mary, to chat with you and Bonnie and Laurel and Donna. Thank you for sharing.
You.
All right, I think everybody is back now. So I just like to debrief that a bit. If someone can raise their hand if they want to share, what happened when I broke you into groups. Yeah, Linda. I've unmuted you there.
In all honesty, and Caroline knows me, my first thought was to get off the call. And come back. And I sat here and I said to myself, I can do this. And I had a wonderful, wonderful conversation with Terry, and we had a grand time. And to tell you, I'd love to finish my conversation with Terry because we went through the questions, and I think we did great, didn't we, Terry?
Love it.
Thank you. So thank you. It was a wonderful experience. it was great. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Linda. Because did anyone else have that experience of, oh my God, do not break me out. I don't want to talk to this other person. Just teach me something. Can we please keep it safe? Like, I don't want to think. And then we do it. We're like, oh, the effort was worth it. The effort to connect was worth it. So
It was. It was.
Thank
Thank you very much, Megan and Caroline.
yeah. And Terry. Thank you, Terry.
And Terry.
for that. Yeah.
Terry knows. Terry knows.
Oh, thank you. So who else? Raise your hand so I can see you, and I will unmute you. And I'm going to go through.
Looks like
Oh.
Margie.
Yeah, Margie, let me unmute you. Yes, Margie.
We had a great conversation, and I was just opening my mouth to say I'm so glad that we got together and I met Susan and Sharon when you bleeped me off.
Oh,
So out there, Susan and Sharon, it was nice to be with you.
there's a big shout out to Susan and Sharon. It sounds like your group really connected. Thank you, Margie.
Yes, we did.
And other people had their hands up. Yes, your name is Sandra. Is that you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Joy, and we could have, it was hard just to get to the first question because we just kept exchanging information, and clearly we had some similar values, and we humor, and I don't know, there was a lot that we could have continued to talk about. So I hope that we continue our conversation.
Great. Thank you. And Lisa's telling me go to Raphael. And then I'll come back to you, Rhonda. I see your hand is up as well. Where is Raphael? I should look at the participants.
I have it.
I'm gonna. Oh, he is. He is.
Raise
Yes.
Unmute. Yeah, go, you got it.
Yes. Raphael, you are unmuted.
Yes, Lisa and I had a great conversation. I learned a lot from her. Some of it was related to the questions, some of it unrelated to the questions. But it was just fascinating just to hear like her perspective and like how we interpreted the questions very differently. Just like our thoughts about what fame was or what is to grow old and what do you want. It was a great conversation and wonderful talking to Lisa.
And Lisa, did you have anything to add to that? I'll unmute you as well if you had anything to add.
I say always like, you see someone you don't know and you're like, does that person look like somebody I might even want to share with? And then all of a sudden the rhythm happens, and then you find things that are common or similar, and you find things that are not similar, and it's challenging and exciting is what I'll say. It's all of those.
I love those two words, Lisa and Rep. Thank you for that sharing, that it's challenging and exciting. That's why some of us want to say like, no, I don't want to do this. Don't break me out into groups. It's also exciting to have those conversations. So thank you for that perspective. Rona.
Hi. So I was with Mega, and we were just talking, and we kind of didn't know if we wanted to answer the question. And then I said, I don't really like the first question. And I said, why? And we said, why? And then I mentioned a name about, like I really love this person. And then she said, oh my God, I love him too. And then we realized that like our virtual sister is the same. We have a few, and all these connections that we have, and we live very far apart from each other. So all these connections and all these things that we're going to be doing together soon.
Wow.
And it just felt, like if mirror neurons worked, Mega has so much energy, and I feel so energized now.
Yeah. Oh, that is delightful. Thank you, Rhoda. Thank you, Mega, for having that conversation. Those mirror neurons sounded like they kicked in. And Joni, I see your hand is raised. Let me just see. I have unmuted you. Did you have something to ask or say?
Yeah, I was just going to say my first reaction was, eek, oh no. And then I thought, okay, just don't even think about it. Just move forward without thinking, and then everything will be fine. So, and it was lovely. I was in with Eva and Joanne, and it was just lovely to meet two beautiful new women. And I loved having the questions because I love talking to them about something other than the virus and what's happening and the shelter, all that stuff. Like none of that entered our room, and it was beautiful. It was like this going on vacation with them from all of this. And that was, I feel refreshed from it. I feel like I've been away a little bit, that feeling after vacation, you come back and you're like, oh, my head is clear. So that was great. And I'm going to take Eva up on that, visiting her in France. Absolutely. Ladies, thank you.
Yahoo!
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I see a hand. Warren.
Hi.
Yes.
It's wait, let me unmute myself.
You're already
okay, thank
unmuted.
you.
Yeah.
It's actually, I'm Meg. I'm on my husband's Zoom. But
okay.
what I found so interesting is that the minute we got into the room, there was one picture of someone, and I helped her unmute. And then there was another one who just had initials, and she was on the phone. And it didn't really make a difference. I felt that we had an immediate intimacy, even though with one I could see her. And I told her, and she agreed, that one of the nice things about Zoom is that you kind of can see people really up close. You usually don't get that close to someone's face unless it's someone you're intimate with. But when it's for a total stranger, just to see them a few inches from me was rather nice. And then the other person, we just heard a voice, and we each chose which question we wanted to respond to or talk about. And it felt very intimate. And part of it was because you don't know these people, you can just totally say what you want. And then we found out we were in 3 different places, in Maine, in Woodstock, New York, and in New York City. So I would say it was a very successful, very rewarding time meeting new people. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you, Joni. A trip to France sounds wonderful. Thank all of you for sharing that. And I just did. Susan, were you holding your hand up?
Yeah, Susan wanted to.
Yeah.
To see, we too were in different places, Virginia, Florida, and I'm in New York. So that was fun getting together. And we just had fun, actually. Who would you want to have for dinner? I said Barack Obama, and Megan said, I'll be right there. And then Jerry said, how about Mrs. Obama? I said, all right, let's do it for 4. And when we asked about the 90-year-old thinking like a 30-year-old, the first answer was, I'd have a lover. So we had fun.
Yeah, it sounds like you did. So I just want to make note of how high the energy is from each of you who are sharing your experience. That this idea of fear as we reopen is real, right? I mean, there is fear there. And there's a way in which we can look another in the eye, connect with another human being, and make these micro moments of connection matter. They can actually make our day. They can elevate us. You experienced the psychological and physiological and biological change that happens when you do is something as simple as connecting one-to-one over a few questions. They are not difficult. They are safe. They are fun. And we experience that. And I know I could tell that there was more hands up than I was able to get to. I just want to make sure we had time to wrap this up and say, this is positivity resonance. This is what we yearn for in connection. And this is what we still have available to us each and every day. Virtually, with our direct family, with the people that we're passing when we go get our mail or go to the supermarket to pick up our groceries. It's still available to us, this basic human need. Yeah, period at the end of that sentence. And I'm going to return it over to you, Caroline, to talk about what else may be coming up this week.
Absolutely. Let me just make sure I'm off mute. Yes, I am. Great. So tomorrow we are going to be talking about growth after trauma, knowing what is possible with Kathy Washburn. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be doing Peace in Micro Moments during COVID-19 with Debbie Toomey, who's an RN, and she has some really interesting things to talk about. And then finally, on Thursday, we'll round out our week with changing our perspective on health, happiness, and opportunity with Dan Lerner. And Dan is, he's a professor, I believe, at NYU. And he's sort of known as a strength-based performance coach and an expert on all things positivity, right? So he studies how happiness influences success. And as we look at going back into our lives, we're going to be defining what success means to us. So I think that it's going to be a really interesting week. And thank you for once again, Megan, starting us out in such a beautiful, beautiful way.
Oh, my pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure connecting with all of you. And I did just put into chat, those of you who want to expand deeper into positivity resonance, connecting and learning the science of positive psychology is a certificate program, which is only a couple more weeks left to register, and then we close it for the year. It's once a year we run it. So if you're interested, I know some people on this call are actually in the class, including you, Caroline. Yes. So I did put that in there if anybody's interested.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. And I'm going to unmute everybody so we can all say goodbye. All right, take care, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Where do you get the information?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Esther and Colleen, goodbye.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Megan.
So wonderful to talk
Esther. Elaine. Thank you. Bye, Esther.
Bye all.
Bye-bye.
Queen Ella, thank you. Colleen. I don't see Colleen. Oh. Hi, Josephine. Hi, Terry. Bye,
Bye, everybody, and bye.
Looking for